All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're taking a metaphorical hike deep into the dark forest. We're going to trace this incredibly fascinating path, starting all the way back with the genuine awe ancient people felt for the natural world, and moving straight into the modern psychology of supernatural folklore. I mean, how exactly did we go from glowing mushrooms to children finding emotional comfort in haunted houses? Well, let's find out.
Our journey starts right here at dusk, with a young reader stepping into what literary experts call the super uncanny. Now, if you aren't familiar with that term, it's basically that thrilling, goosebump-inducing sweet spot hovering right between rational, scientific explanations and the totally irrational, supernatural spirit realm. It's this mysterious space that humanity has absolutely loved exploring for thousands of years, and honestly, the natural world has always been our favorite doorway in.
Starting off with Section 1, The Magic and the Myth, Nature's Supernatural. Picture this. You're walking through a dense, pitch-black woods centuries ago. Suddenly, you see this faint, eerie light glowing at the base of a tree. Long before we had the science to point to fungal mycelium, like armillaria for instance, people saw this soft, cool green or amber glow on rotting wood, and naturally gave it magical names. They called it fairy fire, troll gold, or foxfire. They genuinely believed they were looking at the tools of witches or spirits trying to guide their way through the dark.
And it's just amazing how biology literally morphed into magic here. Take the beautiful Japanese legend of the kitsune. The story goes that supernatural foxes gather at an ancient tree on New Year's Eve, and they carry that exact same glowing fungi, foxfire, using it as magical lanterns to light their procession to the shrine. Local farmers would actually count the trails of these fires in the woods to predict how good the coming rice harvest would be. We can even demystify the ancient gods of thunder with this same lens. Towering oak trees were venerated all across ancient Europe. We're talking Greeks, Romans, Celts, Slavs. They were universally sacred to thunder gods like Zeus, Thor, and Jupiter. But why? Well, scientifically, these trees are massive natural lightning rods. Because of their immense height and unusually high water content, the ancients saw lightning striking them constantly and just assumed the gods were picking favorites. Even the Druids, whose name might literally mean knowers of the oak tree, worshipped in these groves, fully believing that mistletoe was planted in the branches by those very lightning strikes.
Moving deeper into the woods to Section 2, Roots of Scary Stories, Folklore to Caution.
So, ghosts and spooky tales are basically entrenched in our DNA at this point. I mean, the earliest known picture of a ghost dates all the way back to a Babylonian tablet from 1500 BCE. That is ancient. For most of human history, these spirits were tied to the idea of unfinished business or improper burials. But fast forward to the 19th century, and writers like the Brothers Grimm took these terrifying elements of the dark forest, witches and gingerbread houses, lost kids, restless spirits, and forged them into strict cautionary tales. Their goal was pretty literal: frighten children into good behavior and instill discipline through pure fear. Which brings us to Section 3, The Invisible Child, Modern Ghost Allegories.
Today, things have changed completely. There is this massive, modern appetite for what we now call the safe, scary story. You see this exploding across middle-grade literature and all over YouTube with the hashtag #SafeScaryStories. These tales focus on mild, accessible horror. For instance, take the animated story The Whispering Library. You've got a girl named Luna who ducks into a haunted, vine-covered library during a storm, and she finds a glowing red book that is literally writing her life story in real time. It's definitely spooky, but kids aren't engaging with these mysterious monsters to be disciplined anymore. They're doing it to safely test the waters of fear and ultimately learn problem-solving skills.
Section 4, Ghosts as Allegories, Metaphors for Psychology.
Modern authors are using the ghost as this incredibly profound extended allegory. Think about what a ghost actually is, right? It's an inherently invisible character. It's someone trying so hard to impact the world, but they go completely unseen and unheard. For writers today, that is the absolute perfect personification of a lonely kid who feels overlooked, neglected, or just totally powerless in their own life.
You can see this vividly mapped out in some recent middle-grade hits. Take The Ghost of Goswater. The main character, Aggie, is tricked out of her fortune and left completely alone. She ends up bonding with a restless spirit because, well, both of them are just trying to put things right. And then in The Haunting of Aveline Jones, Aveline is shipped off to stay with an intimidating aunt in a town that feels totally forgotten. Feeling completely forgotten herself, Aveline finds this deep connection to the diary of a young ghost named Primrose.
These isolated kids find kinship with restless spirits because they know exactly what it feels like to be powerless. And this allegorical structure sets up such a fascinating dynamic between generations. You've got the empathetic child who literally sees the ghost because they recognize their own struggles in it. And on the flip side, you have the totally dismissive adult. In Evelyn's story, mysterious thumps cross the ceiling and Aunt Lillian just outright denies it. She blames the noises on the eccentric old house. By ignoring the supernatural, the adult figures inadvertently reinforce the kids' feelings of isolation, pushing them even closer to the ghost.
Finally, we reach the clearing. Section 5. Finding Comfort in Fear. Healing through Horror.
Stephen King, the absolute master of this stuff, hit the nail on the head when he said, "Monsters are real, ghosts are real too. They live inside us." The most resonant, scary stories, the ones that really stick with us, aren't actually about what's lurking behind the trees. They are about the internal monsters and the invisible anxieties that we all carry around every single day.
So why do kids actively want to read this stuff? Because it gives them a totally safe arena to shine a flashlight on their own negative emotions. It allows them to examine what they're actually afraid of, rather than just burying those really complex feelings of loneliness deep inside. Instead of giving them nightmares, these spooky allegories provide comfort. They give kids a framework to process real-world fears, helping them feel a little braver and a whole lot less alone.
So I'll leave you with this to chew on. We started this journey with glowing fungi mistaken for fairy fire, and we've ended up with ghosts acting as literal mirrors for our own emotions. The next time you hear a ghost story, ask yourself, are the spirits in our stories simply reflections of the unseen parts of ourselves, just asking to be understood? Thanks for walking through the woods with me on this explainer today.